Todd Strasser, local resident and author of more than 130 novels, discusses his latest release, Summer of '69, with Maura Carlin.
I'm joined by Larchmont author Todd Strasser, who's come out with his, around 150th book called The Summer of '69. And guess what? It's about the summer of 1969. Todd, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
You've called this book, said the book is somewhat autobiographical, but it's not a memoir, and so you're calling it an autobiographical novel.
Yes.
What does that mean? What's the difference?
Well, it started out as a memoir of 1969, and I was working on it, but you know, stories have to have more than just a memoir segment. They have to feel like there's a message, something you're trying to get across. And I realized that some of the issues I wanted to deal with were things that happened in 1968. So I decided to combine 1968 and 1969. So it was really no longer an autobiography. It was now in the realm of fiction. And so that's why I decided to call it a fictional autobiography.
Would you call it, apart from that, call it an accurate representation of the era? In other words, could someone look at it for historical fiction to say, this is what it was like the summer of '69 in this area?
Sure, yeah. You know, even though it's about me, there's also a lot of research that went into it, because I was sort of like a micro dot in a much bigger picture. So I did a lot of research to make sure that everything was in what I felt the correct historical context.
So Woodstock, coming up on the 50th anniversary, people really want to know, what was it like to go to Woodstock?
Well, it really was pretty much the way all the stories are. You know, I had to go on a motorcycle Saturday morning with my girlfriend, and we rode up through the rain, and as we got closer, the roads were blocked, and we got to one point at 17B where there were these big oil cans and two state troopers waving everyone on. And if you were in a car, that was it. You weren't going to get to Woodstock. But on a motorcycle, I just drove through the cans. But as we got close, we had to sort of get off the road because the road was completely jammed with cars and people. And we were going around this mud puddle, and the motorcycle very slowly slid out from under us. Nothing where we got hurt, very slow motion. And suddenly we're sitting there by the edge of the mud puddle, and the motorcycle is on its side, and the wheel is turning. And this big guy, long hair, a red bandana around his head, and comes tromping through this mud, and he holds out this big gallon-sized green jug of wine. He says, "Guys, you look like you could use this." And that's when I realized, you know, we were there, and there was different than what we might have expected.
So how was it different from what you might have expected?
Everybody was really well behaved. And I'm not just saying this from my own point of view. I mean, the state commandant of the police force said so too. People were polite, they were nice, they shared everything.
I know, believe it or not, we're out of time, but you are going to be speaking, a reading from your book at the Larchmont Library. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, it's going to be a presentation, not just a reading. I'm going to talk a lot about the times, just as we've talked today. I'm going to talk about how the book was created, and I am going to do some readings. But I'm going to have PowerPoint, so it'll be really interesting.
So when is this?
This will be May 19th at 4 p.m. Legal edibles will be served at 3:30.
The Larchmont Public Library.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, Todd Strasser, and I guess buy the book, don't steal it.
All right.